how to live a long, healthy life. We're out here adventuring in Northern Carolina on a top secret mission, top secret. But I'm gonna make these vlogs on my adventure channel to increase your longevity, your cardio, your longevity. So lifespan, right? You got your lifespan, you live until 70, 75, 80, 90, 100, right? That's how long you live. But what's honestly more important is your quality of life, especially the older you get into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? 90s, whatever. What is your quality of life? Because you don't want to be 70, 80 years old, right? Where you can't open up a jar, where you can't go up the stairs, where you can't take care of yourself. You can't go on a bike ride. You can't go on a walk. You can't go on an adventure. You can't travel the state or the country or different countries. You can't, right? Enjoy life, right? So that's what we mean. That's what I mean by longevity, right? So some tips that I'm applying to my life every single day, twice a week, I study health. Now, health is a range of strength training, building muscle, losing fat, that type of stuff, but it's also nutrition. It's also your water intake, your quality of water, your quality of sleep, your quality of food and nutrition, all sorts of great things, right? But to improve longevity, right, there's two things to really keep in mind, and this is at any age. If you're 15, if you're 30, if you're 25, if you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60 years old watching this, this is applicable. And actually, the sooner you get started, the more that you'll benefit from this. So number one is focus on your weakness. So there's cardiovascular, VO2 max, right? And there's also strength training. You need a healthy balance of both of these. Really, you know, if you could do an hour a day of exercise 6 days a week, that's how you'll be able to equally balance and improve both of these. Which one you're ever weaker on, if you're weaker in cardio, you should be focusing on that. If you're weaker in muscle mass and strength, then you should be focusing on that, right? Because you need both of those to have, not only live longer, but have better longevity into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond that, right? So basically 5 to 6 hours of exercise a week, right? That should be split up between strength training and cardiovascular. Whichever one you're weaker at, more of your time and energy should be focused on the one that you're weaker at. Now, if you're focusing on cardiovascular, you need to be training in all sorts of different zones. So getting 10 to 15,000 steps a day, that's great and all, but to actually train your cardiovascular, your heart, which is the most important muscle in your entire body, you need to train it in zone 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right, so zone 4 and 5, 3, 4, and 5 is like sprints, right? So you want to be training in that multiple times a week, right? So what I'm doing is adding sprints. I try to sprint 2 to 3 times a week and add sprints, right, into your workout regimen to get your cardiovascular training and zone training to zone 3, 4, and 5, right? Zone 2 is not a walk. It's like going up a steep incline, like a pretty intense hike, or it's like a moderate jog where you can somewhat carry a conversation. If you can easily carry a conversation, you're in zone 1. If it's too hard to carry a conversation, then you're in zone 3 or above, right? Zone 2 is where it's somewhat difficult, but you can still carry a conversation. So that's like a light, easy jog, right? So you want to be training in that 2 to 3 hours a week in zone 2 training, right? So that's going on a jog for 2 to 3 hours a week. Then you want to be training in zone 3, 4, and 5 a couple hours a week as well, right? So my recommendation, or at least what I'm doing, is a couple hours a week, train in zone 2, go on jogs. It could be the elliptical, it could be a bike ride, it could be a jog, it could be the treadmill, it could be out in nature, or it could be, or that's good, right? And then the trains 3, 4, and 5 is just higher intensity sprints. It could be bike riding, it could be other things as well, but that's to get your heart rate past where you can easily carry a conversation, right? Then balance that with strength training. Obviously, you guys have seen and heard lots of that from me at Devin Kripa on all social media platforms. But weight training, getting, fundamental lifts, it could be through body weight, it could be through cables, it could be through a lot of different things, doing weight training, right, to get stronger, right? And that's going to be important as you get older, because anytime after the age of about 25, you're fighting an uphill battle to maintain muscle mass and strength. Not only muscle mass and strength, but bone density, which becomes more and more important as you reach your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond that, right? And same thing with your muscle mass. As your testosterone gets lower, or as you get older, it gets harder and harder to maintain and build muscle mass past the age of 25, right? So if you're younger, you want to build as much muscle mass as you can while you're younger. And as you get older, you want to be training as hard as you can to maintain as much muscle mass as you can as you get into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, right? So equal balance of cardiovascular training and strength training will be very important for not only living a long life, but living a healthy life for the rest of your life. All right, guys, God bless.